Have you ever wondered why some people think they can act with impunity as if their actions will never catch up to them? Officer Mark Turner had been with the police force in Greenville, Alabama, for over a decade. Known for his brash demeanor, Mark often pushed boundaries, especially when dealing with people of color. On a warm Tuesday morning, he spotted a sleek black BMW parked outside a coffee shop in a predominantly white neighborhood. Behind the wheels sat a black woman calmly sipping her coffee. Mark narrowed his eyes. "What's she doing here?" he muttered to himself. The woman didn't look like she belonged, at least not in his mind. Her tailored navy blue suit and confident posture only fueled his prejudice. Mark walked up to the car, his hand resting on his holster. "License and registration," he barked. The woman, whose name was Evelyn Brooks, turned her head slowly and gave him a puzzled look. "Good morning, officer. May I ask why you're stopping me?" Her voice was calm, but firm. Mark's jaw tightened. "Don't play games with me. Hand over your license and registration now." Evelyn complied without argument, handing him her documents. Mark glanced at them but barely read the details. He was more interested in asserting his authority. "Step out of the car," he ordered. "Is there a problem?" Evelyn asked, her eyes locking with his. Eyes said, "Step out of the car." Mark snapped, his tone harsher. Reluctantly, Evelyn stepped out. Onlookers began to gather, sensing the tension. Mark's voice grew louder as he accused Evelyn of loitering and suspicious behavior. Evelyn stood her ground, refusing to be intimidated. "Officer, I'm not breaking any laws. This is harassment," she said, her voice unwavering. Mark's face turned red. He handcuffed her roughly and declared, "You're under arrest for resisting an officer and disorderly conduct." Evelyn didn't resist. Instead, she looked him in the eye and said, "You have no idea what you've just done." Her words lingered as Mark shoved her into the back of the patrol car. 2 days later, the case was scheduled for a hearing. News of the arrest had spread quickly, and the courtroom was packed with reporters, activists, and curious locals. Mark Turner strutted and confidently ready to defend his actions. He had no doubt the judge would side with him, as they often did. Evelyn, on the other hand, walked in with a quiet confidence that caught everyone's attention. Dressed in a sharp gray suit, she carried an air of authority that made even the judge sit up straighter. As the proceedings began, Mark's lawyer painted a picture of a disruptive and suspicious individual who had refused to cooperate. Mark smirked, confident that the narrative would stick. When it was Evelyn's turn to speak, she stood up and addressed the court. "Your Honor, before I defend myself, I would like to introduce myself properly." She reached in her briefcase and pulled out a badge. "My name is Evelyn Brooks, and I am the Chief Federal Prosecutor for the Southern District of Alabama." The courtroom fell silent. Mark's smirk vanished, replaced by a look of shock and fear. The judge raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. Evelyn continued, her tone steady but firm. "Officer Turner violated my rights, falsely arrested me, and used unnecessary force. I have spent my career fighting for justice, and I will not tolerate such behavior from those sworn to uphold the law." Mark's lawyer stammered, trying to regain control of the narrative, but it was too late. Evelyn presented evidence, video footage from bystanders, her spotless record, and even testimonies from witnesses who had seen the incident unfold. The judge looked directly at Mark. "Officer Turner, do you have anything to say for yourself?" Mark stumbled over his words. I didn't know who she was," he mumbled. "And that excuses your actions," the judge retorted, his voice cold. "Ignorance is no defense." The judge wasted no time delivering his verdict. "Officer Turner, your actions were not only unprofessional but also discriminatory. This court holds you accountable for your abuse of power." Mark's face drained of color as the judge announced his punishment: immediate suspension without pay, mandatory sensitivity training, and an internal investigation into his conduct. But Evelyn wasn't done. She stood up once more. Your Honor, I request that a formal review of Officer Turner's past arrests be conducted. If he has treated others the way he treated me, there may be a pattern of abuse. The judge agreed, ordering a full investigation. Mark's career was effectively over as Evelyn walked out of the courtroom. Reporters swarmed her, eager for a statement. She paused and said, "Justice isn't just about punishment, it's about accountability. No one is above the law, not even those who enforce it." The crowd erupted in applause, and Evelyn's words quickly became a rallying cry for justice reform. Mark sat in the courtroom, his head in his hands. He had thought he could get away with his actions, but in just 10 minutes his world had crumbled. Evelyn Carter had shown him that justice, when wielded by the right hands, was swift and unyielding.